Hello, welcome to my new YouTube channel. My name is Alexander Raidl. I'm an immigration lawyer based in Vienna, Austria. And in this video, I'm going to talk about Austrian citizenship and how to get it.
Why should I apply for Austrian citizenship?
Of course, citizenship means the right of undisturbed residence in Austria, so no one can force you to leave the country for whatever reason. Apart from that, it gives you the active and passive right to vote in all elections in Austria, on communal, regional or national level. Through Austrian citizenship, you have the constitutional right of equality before the law and the opportunity to freely express your opinion in public. Connected with Austrian citizenship is also an EU citizenship. What does that mean? You have a right of residence in all other member states of the European Union if you fulfill some certain requirements, which is either you have education in this country, or you have a job in the country, or you have insurance and you can sufficiently secure your livelihood. Apart from that, Austrian citizenship is also very beneficial when it comes to visa restrictions. You can enter 191 countries without having to apply for a separate visa, and you have diplomatic protection by Austrian authorities, by Austrian embassies or consulates all around the world wherever you stay. Austrian citizenship also grants you full access to the Austrian social system and also access to certain professions such as policemen, judges, or professions that have a very close relationship to the national interests of Austria, like diplomats. But Austrian citizenship also comes with duties such as military service for male citizens or the duty to serve as a juror in a court hearing.
What are the requirements to obtain Austrian citizenship?
Firstly, you have to be willing to give up your old citizenship. Austrian citizenship law only wants you to have one citizenship at a time. Dual citizenships are only possible for very restricted reasons. Moreover, you need an uninterrupted legal residence in Austria for at least 6 years in case of fast integration, which is basically the proof of German skills at B2 level, or in all other cases at least 10 years. Moreover, you need to provide a proof of German skills of B1 level at least, and you need to pass a citizenship exam. The awarding of citizenship must not be a threat to public order or security. Many of my clients have questions in this regard because they come to me, they tell me they've been working in Austria for several years, they pay taxes, they are well integrated, they speak perfectly German, and they have no criminal conviction whatsoever. But nevertheless, their citizenship applications were rejected. How is this possible? If you had, for example, traffic fines, and some of them severe, like not stopping at the red sign or not stopping at the stop sign, this could mean a threat to public order security and could be an obstacle when applying for Austrian citizenship. Of course, criminal convictions can also be an obstacle. Sentencing to imprisonment makes it impossible for you to get Austrian citizenship as long as this is recorded in your criminal record. Moreover, the awarding of Austrian citizenship must not mean a violation of international relationships, and you must also not be a member of a terrorist group. Finally, and most importantly, Austrian citizenship can only be awarded if you can prove that your livelihood has been sufficiently secured.
What does a sufficiently secured livelihood mean, and how can it be proven?
When you apply for Austrian citizenship, you can choose between showing your income in the last 36 months before the application date, or the best 36 months in the last 6 years before the application date. During this time, your income had to be on average higher than the necessary monthly threshold. What is the monthly threshold? This changes every year. In 2024, this is 1,217 euros and 96 cents for single persons. For married couples, it's 1,921 euros and 46 cents. And for each child, it's another 187 euros and 93 cents. Of course, as I said, these these thresholds change yearly. In the last years, they have been a little lower. Next year, it will be high. Let me explain this by an example. Let's say you have a regular net income of 2,000 euros and your monthly rent is 860 euros and you have no other regular expenses such as a loan or maintenance payments for children or ex-spouses or alimony. Then your regular expenses need to be deducted from your regular net income, but you can also deduct from your regular expenses and so-called free station of 359 euros and 72 cents. So if your net income is now 2,000 euros, your calculatory regular expenses are only 500 euros because from the 860 euros I mentioned, you can deduct 360 euros. If you deduct 500 euros from your regular income of 2,000 euros, you have 1,500 euros as regular income for this month, which is higher than the threshold for a single person, but lower than the threshold for a married couple. Moreover, you need to prove that you have not been receiving social welfare payments, which is Grundversorgung or Mindestsicherung, during the last 3 years, but not only for yourself, but also for someone you live together with in the same household. This must not necessarily be only your spouse or your children, but also could also be your parents or brothers or sisters or someone else you're living in the same apartment, for example.
How does the citizenship application work and which authorities are responsible?
In Austria, we have 9 citizenship authorities, one for every region. This citizenship authority cannot be chosen, it depends on the main place of residence. For example, since Vienna is the biggest province of Austria with regard to its population and also with regard to the number of immigrants, it also has the longest waiting times at the citizenship authorities. My clients come to me and ask me, I want to apply for Austrian citizenship. I'm living in Vienna and I want to apply for Austrian citizenship as soon as possible. I have to tell them, currently the waiting time for an application date is between 11 and 13 months. So they could come up, in all other provinces the waiting times are way shorter, so they could come up with the idea of changing their main place of residence, which is possible, but I wouldn't recommend to do it only for the purpose of filing their citizenship application. Because what does that mean? If you change your main place of residence without really living in this place, the authority will find out. The citizenship authorities in the other provinces are well aware of the long waiting times at the citizenship authority in Vienna, and they check it through sending the police to your home if you really live in this new residence. And the police comes to your home and checks your cupboards, if there's any clothing or the toothbrush in the bathroom. And if this is not the case, or if they have doubt that you really live in this place, on the one hand, you might get an administrative fine because of the wrong registration. And moreover, this fine might be considered as an obstacle with regard to your citizenship application because it could be considered as a threat to public order and security. You always have to file the citizenship application in person. This cannot be done through a representative and not through a lawyer. And after the application, the authority has 6 months time to decide on it. If the authority does not decide on the application within this time, you have the opportunity to file a default complaint or an appeal by default, which means the case will be forwarded to an administrative court and the entire case will be handled in a court hearing, and at the end of the court hearing, a judge will decide on your citizenship application. Such a default appeal usually takes another 3 to 6 months, depending on the province and the number of cases at the administrative courts.
How does citizenship application work for descendants of victims of National Socialism?
Austria takes its responsibility for the horrors that happened during the Nazi regime in the 1930s and 40s very seriously. That's why it opened the opportunity to obtain Austrian citizenship for descendants of victims of the Nazi regime in Austria. What are the requirements for this? Firstly, one of your ancestors in direct line, this can either be your parents, your grandparents, or your great-grandparents, must have been Austrian citizens or citizens of the state of the former Austro-Hungarian Empire. They must have had their main residence in Austria, and they must have left Austria before or on the latest on the 5th of May 1955 because they feared or suffered from persecution by Nazi authorities, or they were deported and died because of persecution by the Nazi authorities. Also, if your ancestors were Austrian citizens who lived abroad and couldn't return to Austria between 1933 and 1945 because in case of return they would have suffered or feared persecution, suffered from persecution, the awarding of citizenship for descendants of such ancestors is also possible. What are the advantages for descendants of victims of the Nazi regime when applying for Austrian citizenship? There is no residence required, no residence times required in Austria. There is no certain income requirements. There is no language requirements. And most importantly, you can also keep your current citizenship, so you could become a dual citizen of your current home country and Austria at the same time. How does the application work? The responsible authority is the Austrian embassy at the place where you live. Detailed information can be found on the websites of the embassies or the websites of the Austrian Foreign Ministry.
How one can become dual citizen due to extraordinary performance. Thank you.
Austrian citizenship due to extraordinary performance in the special interest of the Republic of Austria, the so-called genius citizenship. If you can prove extraordinary achievements in your field of specialization, such as sports, business, arts and culture, or science, and if this extraordinary performance is in the special interest of Austria, you can be awarded Austrian citizenship. How can these special achievements be proven? Usually, applicants provide recommendation letters, proof of awards or prizes they won, lists of publications, lists of sports results, proof of the economic power of the businesses, of jobs you created in Austria, and so on and so forth. What's the big difference for this citizenship application compared to a regular citizenship application? A regular citizenship application is decided by the citizenship authority, whereas the citizenship application for extraordinary performances is decided by the Austrian federal government. So the Council of Ministers comes together, usually twice a year, and decides on all pending applications for extraordinary achievements. What are the advantages when you can be granted Austrian citizenship through extraordinary performances? Firstly, and most importantly, you don't have to give up your old citizenship, so you can become a dual citizen of your current country and also get Austrian citizenship. Secondly, you do not have to bring any proof regarding your German skills, residence times in Austria, or income requirements.
How can I retain my Austrian citizenship?
Austrian citizens who move abroad and want to apply for a new citizenship after a couple of years living there usually automatically lose their Austrian citizenship through the application for a new citizenship. Under certain conditions, dual citizenship is possible. What are those conditions? Most importantly, the retention for Austrian citizenship has to be applied for before you apply for a new citizenship. Through the signing or through filing the application for a new citizenship, you automatically lose Austrian citizenship. So you need the decision on the retention application before you file for the new citizenship. So, under which conditions an application for retention of Austrian citizenship can be accepted? Either the applicant can prove special performances in sports, business, arts, culture, or science, or can give a justification for reasons that are particularly worthy of consideration and that are in the special interest of the Republic of Austria, or if the applicant is a minor-aged child, or if the application can be justified with the right of private and family life. So, thank you very much for watching. I'm looking forward for your comments. Every comment will be answered. And if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. My contact details are in the description box below.